Good afternoon, everybody. Eric Foster, co-founder of the Future Today and Tomorrow Super PAC. So I wanted to share, hopefully, some advice and some guidance to our pro-democracy friends in Congress and in state legislative bodies who are dealing with recalcitrant MAGA officials who come before them to testify. And really, this is more of a issue in Congress where you have the utter lunacy that happens in congressional hearings with respect to the MAGA official comes in, the way they talk to the Democratic, independent, or non-MAGA Republicans on a panel versus the way they talk to the cheerleaders of the MAGA regime and what the MAGA regime is doing. What are some steps that you can do if you are one of those officials that can actually, hopefully, change how you get information out and your ability to take that information and use it to educate the 164,295,439 eligible adult American citizens who voted for VP Harris, third party candidates for president, skipped the presidential part of the ballot and voted down ballot, or didn't vote but were eligible to vote. So, first, I want to say that every time we see a congressional hearing, we know exactly how this rodeo is going to go down. The in Congress right now, the MAGA party has control of the House and the Senate. And so the committee person is going to lay out their vision. They're going to say President Biden's team was the worst people in the world since the invention of sliced bread with unbuttered toast. They're going to tout the Trump regime as the greatest thing that's ever happened to humanity since butter was able to be added to toast. And they're going to tout the appointee or the person testifying or people testifying as the best people in the world to execute the MAGA agenda. Now, the Democratic ranking member, who's like the co-chair of the committee, they're going to come out and say, look, everything you just heard is a bunch of BS. Here's some realities in terms of what the issues are. These are some things that we're hoping to get accomplished today. And we want to have answers and a substantive conversation to get to some answers. That's the first problem. I would recommend strongly in the House and the Senate, and we would recommend at the Future Today and Tomorrow to the members of the Democratic and Independent side to pre-plan all of the ranking members of every committee and subcommittee to pre-plan and change the approach. So first, the ranking member needs to come out and level set in terms of who is testifying, what was said by the committee chair, and what's going on in reality. So they need to hit on three key themes. One, the person that's testifying today is a liar and is going to lie about everything. And they're going to blame and deflect and say that President Biden or President Obama or President Clinton or President Carter or maybe President Bush 43 and Bush 41 are the cause of all of the problems or never did anything good or are evil, spinny head demons like from the Omen in 1973. Not the Omen, I'm sorry. Oh, good Lord. Forgot the name of the movie, but it was the movie with Linda Blair, The Exorcist. Yeah, The Exorcist, where you know, girl's been possessed and she's spinning her head around and she's spitting out vomit. Then, so that's one. They're going to lie when we ask them questions. So we're not going to assume that they're going to tell us any truth outside of their name. And they're going to attack and demonize not only us, but everybody that voted for us and everybody that we represent who voted either for other candidates or didn't vote, and even non-MAGA Republicans who may have voted for the Republican candidate we ran against, but don't like what's going on. Two, everything that they say about the Biden administration, the Obama administration, Bush 43, et cetera, all of those are lies. So everything that they say about previous presidential administrations are lies. Not a word of it is true. And then, depending on the committee, you can break it down. So if it's judicial, when they talk about quote unquote the weaponization of government, President Biden's administration and President Obama's administration never went after anybody. Every statement of so called weaponization is a lie. Every person who was indicted, MAGA Republican, Democratic, Independent, and not involved, were found by a grand jury to have been potentially guilty of crimes. And so the grand jury found enough evidence to issue the indictment for them to go through the trial to find out if they would be convicted, which grand juries are in the Constitution. So no one weaponized government against them. Or if it's in the EPA lane, every lie that they say about clean energy and efforts to increase clean energy is a lie. Clean energy works, it's cost effective, it was creating jobs to add to the jobs we had in other industry sectors. Coal is not coming back. More people work at Arby's than work in the coal industry. Wrap your head around that. And what they're doing is stealing money from these communities that were trying to make their air better, their water better, and cut down on the cost of utilities. Well, they're making the air dirtier, the water dirtier, and they're raising electric bills and heating bills. So thank you very much. But you do that, everything that they're going to say about other administrations is a lie. And then thirdly, you break it down into why they are here to lie, which is they're here to lie, they're here to attack because, and then depending on the committee, you make it committee specific. So if it's a committee like oversight or judiciary, something that let's say may relate to voting, it's because they don't want people who would not vote for their candidates to have the right to vote or have their vote counted, period. So the 164,295,439 of you all who were eligible to vote and didn't vote for MAGA, they don't want you to have the right to vote or have your vote counted. They think that you are less than and should not have a say in the governance of the country. Or if this is in an issue like a small business committee or commerce, the reason why they're trying to eliminate programs that create and address the still barriers to contracting and hiring for non-white males is because they want to keep you poor, without economic access, and they want to give all that money to a small group of people that look like them. You put it in those terms and you tie it to affordability. Because at the end of the day, be it if they're stealing money out of the mouths of qualified businesses and employees who could do the work, but just so happen to not be white males, to if they don't want the votes of non-MAGA Americans to count, to if they don't want the continued support for clean energy industry sector, which is employing 4 times as many people as coal is and growing. They're stealing from your ability to make a living and have more money in your checking account and savings account at the end of the month than you did at the beginning of the month. They're stealing from you. They're stealing your house, your car, and your grandparents. Are you okay with this? Now, once the chairman has laid out those pillars, the person here testifying is going to lie, and everything, one. Two, everything that they're going to say and that the chairman said or chairwoman, well, actually, they don't have chairwomen in MAGA, it's chairmen, everything in the House at least, everything that the chairperson said is a lie, and why they're lying. So those are your 3 points. The testifier is going to lie, the chairperson has lied, and this is why they're lying, because they want to keep stealing from you and keep you poor, uninformed, and lacking opportunity. Then you break up your committee members into key segments where you tackle 3 to 4 key issues and you break up the questioning. So you'll have, and you go kind of like in a cadence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In that you have those particular folks, let's say if it is Homeland Security and it is Department of Justice. So one question would be in regards to immigration enforcement, questioning along the lines of the reality of data. Over 87% of the people who have been arrested under the MAGA regime's ICE immigration crackdown do not have criminal records. So why are you lying that you're going after the worst of the worst? And questions in that area. Another segment could be on the mass internment concentration camp buildup. Why do you want to spend all of this money on mass incarceration, internment concentration camps? Are you planning on jailing non-MAGA people too? Or it could be on weaponizing the Department of Justice against non-MAGA Americans. Why are you spending money going after and in the list of people when you say you're doing fair justice? That's a lie, and you have questions in that range. Then another one could be, if it's the Department of Justice, it could be about the Epstein related matters. Why are you protecting pedophiles, sexual sadists, and sexual abusers who hurt young women and girls, regardless of when it was, they hurt them? Why are you standing with pedophiles, sexual sadists, and sexual abusers instead of the rest of us who are standing with the victims? And to the MAGA members of this panel, why are you standing with those same individuals versus the women who are being mistreated? So what you do is, by doing that, you create an ability to have a rolling 4-part theme of what you've tried to accomplish based on subject area. Those subject areas can then be turned into, depending on the answers, campaign advertising, voter education information, position papers, and other things to help inform the non-MAGA majority of what's really going on and cutting through the BS. Because here's the reality. sometimes when you all ask questions relating to what you may want them to do in regards to a particular issue in your district or in your state, and you ask normal questions as if this was Bush 43's administration or Bush 41 or Reagan or Ford or Nixon, it's not. They're not going to do the things that you're asking for with respect to your district or your state. If you're in a blue state, they're going to attack your state. They're going to lie about your people. They're going to demonize your district if it's a blue congressional district. They're not going to be of help, and they're not going to give you honest information. So stop asking those questions. Break it up into four key topic areas, divide up the group. So let's say it's 24 Democratic members on a committee. 6 are going to take topic A, B, C, and D, and you do it in a cadence so that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can even switch it up. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, etc. Because what you want to do is you want to then be able to string together those 6 at the end for a linear flow, and then on their topic, and then the next 6 and the next 6, and then you can communicate that to the general public. That's how you effectively deal with the MAGA dictatorship regimes, cabinet members, along with your opposing party. Now, there's one additional caveat that I do want to recommend to the House and Senate members. Well, two caveats. One, if a non-MAGA Republican member is willing to join you in this righteous cause, bring them into the meeting and give them a lane of questioning that can be specific to the topic areas, but can maybe be tailored to them as a non-MAGA Republican. Secondarily, when the MAGA Republican gets done, you need to, in your first 30 seconds, respond to every lie that they just said about Democratic voters, Democratic communities, Democratic elected officials, Democratic members of the Congressional Committee, Democratic witnesses, the past administrations, both Democratic and Republican, Dr. Seuss, Star Wars, etc., whatever lies they say, because you cannot let the lies live. You cannot just go right into your questioning and act like the lies that were told by the previous speaker won't be replayed through MAGA mainstream media. So you need to respond so that possibly, hopefully, some of that response gets caught. So they can say, okay, well, Representative May said Democrats are A, B, C, D. And then the next person that came after Representative Mace was Representative Goldman. And Representative Goldman said, A, B, C, and D are lies. Representative Mace is lying. And I don't care what y'all do to me. She's a lying ass. Ultimately, you're responding and then you're getting into your segmented questions and you're focusing on that. And lastly, stay on points. So if in your segment you maybe had 3 questions, but your first question opens up a door for something important, don't move on to question 2 and 3. Stay on that question. Drive that point home till the wheels fall off. Don't hesitate on it because you've cracked the door, which is something that is important and critical, and you need to stay on that particular point. Now, this also can apply for traditional non-MAGA media as well when interviewing in press gaggles both Donald Trump and MAGA related officials. because you all not wanting to be a part of the story, you're made a part of the story by all of them constantly. So the way you used to do journalism in the 90s and the 2000s doesn't fit in 2026. So you have to push back. You have to call a lie to their face. And when they tell you, oh, well, you all agree with me, you have to tell them, no, I don't. That clear. If you want to help us at the Future Today and Tomorrow Super PAC to be able to have the resources to turn this information into campaign advertising and voter education information to help shift the paradigm and move that non-MAGA majority into voting and into every election voters who will not be swayed by lies, we need you to contribute to us because a lot of opportunities are being missed by our traditional partners in the pro-democracy movement, but we don't mind saying what needs to be said and putting it in clear terms for people. So visit us. The link for donations will be in the message that goes along with this video where it's posted. And visit us at www.futurepac.today. My name is Eric Foster, co-founder. Thank you. Have a blessed day and see you on the other side.